Hello and welcome to the 49ers First and 10 podcast. 10 minutes of the most up-to-date 49ers news first thing in the morning. I'm your host, Brianna McDonald, and I'm joined by 49ers team reporter, Lindsay Pilares. Yesterday, we heard from defensive coordinator Steve Wilks, run game coordinator and offensive line coach Chris Forrester, and quarterback Brock Purdy. Now, the team has one more practice ahead of them before facing the Arizona Cardinals this Sunday. Lindsay, what are some things you're going to be looking for in this final practice before game day?
I think one of the biggest things for the 49ers headed into Friday is just seeing that the team is continuing to be on the mend. We saw some positive improvements from Wednesday's practice to Thursday's practice, hopefully seeing another jump and guys getting at least some participation in the mix on this Friday afternoon. So we'll see that'll take place about midday today. And generally just hearing who will be available. Head coach Kyle Shanahan will give the last injury report in his press conference later today.
While we're on the topic, Lindsay, can you bring us up to date on the 49ers' latest injury report?
Sure, yeah. For the 49ers, it does look like they are at least trending in the right direction. Thursday's practice, we saw wide receiver Brandon Ayuk shed the blue non-contact jersey that he was wearing on Wednesday. He was officially listed as a limited participant in Thursday's practice, and he's still dealing with that shoulder injury that kept him out of the Week 3 matchup against the New York Giants. Then also linebacker Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles has an ankle injury. He was limited in practice as well. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw has an ankle injury. He was limited as well, but I did see him towards the start of practice running individual drills with the rest of the linebackers. So that appears to be an encouraging sign. Cornerback Ambry Thomas dealing with a knee injury, also limited. And we did not see wide receiver Juwan Jennings, who has a shin injury, and wide receiver Deebo Samuel with a rib and knee injury participate in practice at all on Thursday. He was officially listed as did not participate on the practice participation report.
Obviously, it's not ideal to have some of your best guys sitting out with injury, but the 49ers know all about working with the next man up. As of right now, Friday morning, the team's healthy wide receivers are rookie Ronnie Bell and Ray McCloud III. What have you seen from them so far this season, and are you expecting to see more of them in Week 4?
Yeah, so for rookie wide receiver Ronnie Bell, it has been a steady buildup and really from the preseason straight into the regular season. And he's gotten some increased opportunities because of that injury to Brandon Ayuk in Week 3. We saw him have two very important targets and catches against the Giants. The first was his first NFL touchdown reception of his career, and the second was a come up on a tipped ball of Brock Purdy that came in very clutch. And just looking at his snap count from weeks 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3, it has been a steady increase. So you start to see that the 49ers are getting him more involved. And then for Ray McCloud, he actually was able to come back from a fractured wrist in the preseason to come back in time and help the 49ers with their return game and then also in the passing game. So good to have those two, depending on how the rest of the wide receiver core shakes out for this Week 4 matchup.
And faithful, stay tuned for the team's final practice report coming later today on 49ers.com. But while we're on offense, we talked a lot about the 49ers offensive line throughout training camp and the preseason with Colton McKivitz coming in at right tackle. So let's check back in now that we're almost 4 weeks into the season. What have you seen from the offensive line, and how have the 49ers coaches assessed Colton McKivitz's performance at right tackle?
This is a topic that run game coordinator and offensive line coach Chris Forrester spoke about in his press conference yesterday, and it's been a really positive trajectory for Colton McKivitz. He drew a really tough matchup in TJ Watt, the 2021 Defensive Player of the Year, in Week 1, so obviously dealing with him is similar to dealing with a Nick Bosa type player, right? He's an elite pass rusher. And in his first week as the 49ers starting right tackle, he did have a little bit of trouble containing him, but he has been so good against Los Angeles and the New York Giants. Since that week 1 matchup, he's allowed just one additional quarterback hit. So something to be very proud of for Colton McKivitz. And that improvement has not been unnoticed by his coaches. So more to come from him, we're hoping, in week 4.
Here's Chris Forster's analysis on Colton McKivitz through the first 3 games of the season.
Colts just continued to grind away. We with the first week, obviously we left him alone a lot of times with Watt, and he had his ups and downs with him. Obviously, it was a battle that TJ had some success on us, but we were able to get the win and able to come through it. Colton the next 2 weeks has just stayed the course. He hasn't didn't throw him off. Whatever happened week 1 and week 2 and week 3 just continues to work on the things that need to get better. That's the thing that we've always talked about with Colton, right? His mentality, his demeanor, how one bad play doesn't lead to 3 bad plays, how it doesn't let things pile up on him, and now even more so that he's a starter and playing every week. I think that's hey, you're going to have a bad play every now and then. Now you've got to come off of that play, correct it, and make better. And he has done that, but again, it's a whole new week. We'll see.
I'm sure that quarterback Brock Purdy appreciates the offensive line's impressive performance so far and how they've been protecting him in the pocket. The quarterback talked a lot about making those anticipated throws yesterday. That comes with a lot of confidence in his teammates and the game plan. Lindsay, how have you seen Brock Purdy develop since he became the starter about midway through last season?
I think Brock Purdy just continues to build. I think it's impressive for a player that underwent a season-ending injury and also off-season surgery to come back from that injury, work his way back, and you are still seeing Brock Purdy make the jump that you want to see from a rookie player to his sophomore season. Last week we saw him throw for 310 yards, a new career high for him. And he's, making the mistakes that are necessary to continue building his game. And one area that he's been particularly good at is taking care of the football. I believe he's gone 190 consecutive pass attempts without throwing an interception. And that streak dates back to week 17 of last season. Obviously, turnovers can make or break a ball game. So to have a quarterback that has been able to protect the ball, keep the ball in possession is really huge, and something that Brock Purdy spoke about in his press conference, that it's not necessarily the streak that he's so fixated on, but more so just making sure he puts his team in the best position to win week after week.
Yes, I really like to hear from Brock that if he finishes with a clean game and protects the ball, then he considers that a win. And that clean football is what's helped the 49ers go 3-0 to start the season. Now, on Thursdays is when we get to hear from defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. What was his scouting report on the Cardinals offense?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an echo of what we heard from head coach Kyle Shanahan on Wednesday, that really the key to making sure that the Cardinals offense doesn't get going is to protect efficiently against the run. Run defense is going to be at an all-time premium. The Cardinals really had their way on the ground against the Dallas Cowboys. They put up over 200 yards on the ground. And that's really how the offense got supercharged in that game. In addition, Josh Dobbs also took really great care of the ball and connected on 17 of 21 pass attempts for 189 yards. But he himself is a very mobile quarterback. So the 49ers certainly have to be prepared for a quarterback that is going to take off. I believe he had over a 40-yard rush in that game. So he accounted for just about a quarter of the team's rushing yards. So certainly someone to keep an eye on. And of course, all eyes are also on running back James Conner, who is one of the sturdier backs in the league. He's sitting at about 235 pounds and just a really strong runner. So definitely somebody that the 49ers have to key in on.
Here's Steve Wilks on Arizona's offense.
When you look at Arizona, good football team, very good football team. After watching the tape, impressed with every facet of their offense. When it comes to running the football, they do it well. A lot of respect for Conner. Respected him when he was with the Steelers, and he's still running the ball hard. Dobbs, when you look at his play, hasn't turned the ball over, does a great job protecting the ball, can put it in the right spot. They have two great receivers in Hollywood and Rondell that can take the top off and do a great job getting on the perimeter with the jet sweeps. So, and the offensive line doesn't get enough credit up front with DJ Humphries, and I'm very impressed with their tight ends being able to block as well as get down the field and stretch the field in the passing game.
Faithful, tune into the game this Sunday. The Week 4 matchup is set to kick off at 1:25 p.m. Pacific Time on Sunday, October 1st on Fox. But that will do it for today. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for joining me in this update. Don't forget to follow First and 10 on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Be sure to turn on the notifications so you're in the know when we post any breaking news updates. And thank you, Faithful, for tuning in.